Guys, I'm going to come out and say it. Like, since we are all scared, I'm going to come out and say it for us. Beach Buggy Racing might honestly be the most underrated racing mobile games ever. You don't get, like, this game changed my life. It did. Fuck! It did. So guys, I've been playing Beach Buggy for the past, will I say, give or take 3 weeks of my life. I've been streaming it every day on TikTok. Join my TikTok, I stream every day. I've been streaming it every day for the past 3 weeks of my life. And this game has really showed me what an arcade racer, what a mobile arcade racer could be. How this game was released in 2014, I still don't know what was happening in 2014. But how this game was released in 2014, it still baffles me till this day. Beach Buggy was released in 2014 by a studio called Vector Unit. Vector Unit are also the developers of Riptide. They initially planned the game out as a blitz type of thing. It was never meant to have a story mode. It was never meant to have a progression per se. It was just supposed to be a party, not really party, but you get what I'm saying. It was just meant to be a set of infinite races where there was no beginning, there was no end. But eventually the developers of Vector decided to make it into a story kind of progression. They gave it progression, they gave it a bit of story, and that gave us Beach Buggy, which I feel was a very, 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 very beautiful idea, because I think the story has to be one of the few stories where I actually put in effort to see the end and like to enjoy. So first of all, I think we should start with the negatives of the game, like I always do before we go into the positives. So negatives, sadly, the only time I needed online multiplayer in my life, Vector decided not to give me. There is no online multiplayer. Guess the craziest thing, the most questions I was getting when I was streaming this game was, is there online multiplayer? Is there online multiplayer? Can we connect? There's basically multiplayer mode already in the game, but you have to pay to get it, which is honestly fine. It's a very small, I don't know, I really don't know how much it is, but it's basically you pay, you get some extra cars, and you get split screen multiplayer. I think on the PS4 version too, I think split screen multiplayer is like really like big there. So basically that was like, there's already a multiplayer feature in the game, but there's no online multiplayer. And that was like one of the biggest negatives I've had. Like, when they say things that pain me in gaming, like this, like fumble the bag level pain. They really fumbled the bag on that one. A lot of the game modes were repetitive. They basically only add, let me say, 5 game modes, but it's paced so well that you wouldn't notice that it's 5 game modes. They had the basic race, they had the eliminations, they had follow the leader, they had the bull, the place where you like smash through boards. There's a bull power up game mode, and there's a rocket power up game mode, and that's basically all. If I'm not, there's also a trial. A racing game without a time trial is basically not a racing game. So that was all they had with their game modes. So it's one of those things where the game modes were, but they were spaced properly in a way where, but if you played it for how long I did, I think you eventually begin to notice that, wow, the game modes were not properly spaced. No, they were properly spaced, but they were sparse. The game modes were properly spaced, but they were sparse. And some achievements, like in terms of impossible achievements, this game had a lot of impossible achievements. There was achievements where you had to use the earthquake power up on the enemy that was already affected by anti-gravity. That was the hardest part. I still don't have it in the game. There are 5 achievements I still don't have. I think one of them I've gotten one of them as of recent, but there are like 3 achievements I know that are basically impossible. That's the going gone. There was one where you have to remote, in your mind. There was one you have to remote control somebody that is already affected by dynamite and hit him into a wall. Then there was one more I really don't know, but these were basically the major negatives I saw, like playing through this game. After this, let's get into the fucking positives, because Vector Units managed to achieve something that most mobile games don't know how to do in this day and age. They achieved a very, 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 very satisfying grind. The game feels so satisfying to grind through. I like in all things, in everything I did, the game was this game is the most satisfying game I've sat down with, and I've been like, let me go for gold cards, let me go for 100%. I feel maybe Maybe it's also because of the streaming aspect. Maybe if I wasn't streaming it, it would have been different. But I don't feel that it's because I've streamed other games, and this is the only game where I've been like, yeah, I have to like see it to the end. So it was one of those things where you just be like, yeah, you are done with the story. What now? Yeah, let me go for all gold cards. Yeah, you are done with all gold cards. What now? Then all of a sudden 2 levels unlock. But we'll get to that. Sticking to the positives. We have the driving. Honestly, I think that's the first thing you will notice with the game. The driving is the most satisfying thing you would ever experience in terms of mobile game racing. Like, I was using Tilt. A lot of people were swearing by during my stream. A lot of people were swearing by touch controls. A lot of people were telling me like touch controls is the bomb, is very good, is all. But in my mind, I think tilting basically feels right for the game. So I use Tilt. The driving is honestly very perfect. The controls are sleek, especially when you get to upgrade your cars, because there's an upgrade system where you start your car at 250cc, you move it to 500cc, then you move it to 1000cc, then you max out 1000cc. A maxed out 1000cc car controls like the controls feels just right. It feels perfect. Like it feels how you think it should feel. How you think it should feel. It feels like that, and you have to do a perfect thing with drifting. When through corners, you drift through corners, you slow down on some ramps. Like there are some ramps that you can't just go head on through. You have to like take it slow. Like it feels right. I honestly think it is one of the best feeling. It's one of the best feeling driving games I've actually played through. It's not even been compared to PC racing games too. I'll put it on that level. I'll really put it on that level. Another positive with this game is the power-ups. The power-ups, I think, with Beach Buggy being an arcade racer, the power-ups is what ties it together. Like, it ties it together so that you would know that, okay, you have this power-up, and if you are last, there are a certain amount of power-ups you get. I think it makes it a bit guessable, some people would say, but I like the idea of the consistency where you'll be like, okay, I'm last, I will get more 9, I will get more speed-oriented power-ups, or I'm first, I will get more shield-oriented power-ups, or I'm in the middle places, I will get more damage-oriented power-ups, and they are actually doled out very, let's say, the power-ups are doled out very, very consistently throughout the game, because you can't unlock everything from the start. So you finish a level, they give you like this coconuts, and they will give you like, you have to guess between 3 things, and a lot of time one of them is a power-up, then one of them is a coin, then one of them is like a monkey boost. So the power-ups are actually very, 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 very impactful in the game. Like, you can play through the game without the power-ups, but at the same time, the power-ups is what ties the game together, and it's what makes the game feel. Because if you are first and there is no power-up to stop you from being first, the game won't feel as energetic as it does, in my opinion at least. Car progression and customization. I already talked a bit about this, but car progression is the thing where you have like 250cc, 500cc, 1000cc, and you have to rank it up. So basically, it starts very cheap, so you can like rank up easily at the early levels of the car. But when you start getting to like 1000cc, and it starts costing so much more to upgrade your car through the 1000cc and even maxing it out. But there's a thing where you can play like through the car customization. Like if you get to 250cc, there's a championship for it. You get 500cc, there's a championship for it. You get to 1000cc, there's a championship for it. And unlocking, like, once you can complete the championship for it, you get to unlock a gold variant of that car. The gold variant of that car is basically the same thing with the car, but it's just gold. It's like completion is basically, it's like grinding gold camos in code, basically. But yeah. That's one of the aspects of the game I really actually like enjoy. Like after the story, you get to do that, and in my opinion, it's one of the things where you be like, this is something I can grind even after the game is over. So I think I really enjoyed the car progression and customization. Also, the game has this car customization thing where you can like randomly select patterns, paints, and when I say if you want to tailor it to your driver, so you can have Rez and you can tailor your car to what you think Rez would drive as a car, or you can have Max Kelly. These are drivers I'm calling, and you can tailor your car towards what you think Max Kelly would drive, and you can even select the car with their personality. So it has a lot of customization in that sense. Like the customization actually goes deep. But usually, I grinded all the gold cars and left on their gold camos. So I really didn't play with the customization, but it's actually there if you are that kind of person. Now we come to the bread and like what makes Beach Buggy stand out among other things. The maps. Like, I don't know who designed these maps for them and who decided where to play short. Like initially when I played this game around my, let me say, SS1 SS2 period, in like when I was going to school, I played through this game without the idea of shortcuts. Like my first playthrough basically was I was just playing through the game, and I would drive all the routes, and I would try to be a perfect driver and try to minimize bumping and just drift through the map. Imagine my shock to find shortcuts that were literally there the whole time. Like they are not hidden. The thing about the game is that you would get the inkling of, yeah, there's something there. You get that inkling. You will know that this is not all the map. It can't just be this straightforward. But you would have to like, I don't know how to explain the joy in figuring it out, especially if you're someone that figured it out on your own. I remember the exact moment I rammed through that wall in Crab Cove, and I was like it was the mind, it was the idea for me. Funny how the amount of shortcuts I even discovered were a lot less. Like some of them is my life audience that told me, like I'll be driving to a map and I'll be like, hey, do you know the shortcut in this map? I'll be like, yeah. There are a lot of maps they gave me glitches for. There are a lot of maps they gave me shortcuts for. So it was that kind of thing. But the ones you get to discover on your own is what ties it all together. Like the ramp, the ramp in the snow map, the wall in Mushroom Grotto. Sorry, the one I was talking about was not Crab Cove, it was Mushroom Grotto. The wall in Mushroom Grotto. The under bridge map, there's a ninth map where you have like a thing where you go through the sewer rather than going through the main. So there are a lot of shortcuts like that where you'll be like, wow, this is like what the developers like. The developers expect, they are so out of the way where the developers expect you to actually find it rather than just, it's not so, will I say, it's not so open-ended where anybody can just find it. So it's like something that was put out of the way, and you feel so smart when you discover, and you'll be like, wow, so this thing was actually kept here, and they expected me to pass it. It's like it ties the game. It really is like the thing where a lot of people play Beach Buggy for, because it's not so hidden that it's impossible to find. I'd be like, you can't expect anybody to find that, but at the same time, it's there when you be like, oh yeah, there's something there. There's a way to get there. Like I just need to find it. So it's actually like a lot of the maps are well designed, and a lot of the maps are well thought out. It's not just a thing where they like, it's not, you feel the passion in the map designs. Now we come to the story mode. Basically the story mode is what I think tied this game for me, where you have the main story, you like have the story for the people that just play through the game, or like you are rushing through the game and you play through the game and you end your game and you be like, oh yeah, I defeated the final boss, it's the rabbit guy, I'm forgetting his name, but you be like, yeah, I defeated the final boss, it's the rabbit guy, we are done with the game. A lot of people, I think that's where they stopped. And I was like, due to the fact that I was grinding gold cards and I completed gold cards, I was like, yeah, I'm done with grinding gold cards. Only for me to go back to the story mode and 2 more levels are there. And I was like, And there are 2 characters that you get. I don't feel this will be a spoiler at this point, but you get Maskelly. You can get Maskelly in a personal boss fight and you be like, yeah, I unlocked Maskelly. And Rez is your initial driver. And those 2 drivers that you didn't fight in boss fights end up being the 2 final stages boss. And when I mean those stages are the added stages, you like, if you have played the game and you have not played those two additional stages, one of them is danger, I'm forgetting the name, but there are 2 additional stages. If you have not played those 2 stages and you think you completed Beach Buggy, I promise you did not, because those 2 stages are the added, like the bots in those stages. There was an elimination stage in the final stage that I played through, and this has to be the hardest I've ever needed to win in Beach Buggy. Like, you use the best driver, you use your best car, I promise you it will not be enough. I promise you it will not be enough. Like, I mean, difficulty is very difficult. So if you have not played through those 2 stages, and the final boss is Rez, like Rez being the final boss is actually even crazy for me, because that was the character you start with, and you in your mind you be like, yeah, you can't make a starting character a boss character. But at the same time, it's like it makes sense that Rez is the final boss, and it makes sense that Maskelly and Rez will be the final bosses of the last 2 stages, because which other driver were they going to put there? Of course, they had no other driver to put there. So I think the story mode is actually played out. The story mode played out very well, in my opinion, at least. It's less of a story mode and more of like a progression track. And there's less of a story there, but you get what I'm saying, story mode, because that's the default mode you get, and you run through that's the default mode a lot of people play through the game with. So overall, basically, Beach Buggy is still a genuine cat racer. If you have not tried Beach Buggy out at this point, there's nothing I can say here that will convince you to try Beach Buggy out. But I hope I have been able to remind you, for those that have played, and show you, for those that haven't, why Beach Buggy for me is considered so underrated. Beach Buggy was the bomb, bro. The developers of Vector units deserve their flowers. They eventually made a part 2 of the game, but I think I'm going to be playing it. Sure, there's no story mode in the part 2. The reason I think the Beach Buggy 1 sang so well for me was because I played through the story, unlocked all gold cards, and found out the story, and like it had a finite ending. The only thing they would have done with Beach Buggy 2 was, if they wanted to make it endless, they would have at least added online multiplayer. But from what I hear, there's no online multiplayer feature in Beach Buggy 2. So it doesn't really make sense for me to play Beach Buggy 2 where there's no story, there's no online multiplayer, and it's just endless for being endless sake. While I keep paying reports and maybe somebody's online time, somebody's ghost. It doesn't make sense to me, at least. That's where I see it. But yeah. That's all for this video. Like I said a million times through the video, we stream on TikTok. Join our life. We are trying to push content really hard this year. Help us subscribe to our channel. We are currently at 60 something as at recording this video on YouTube. Help us with the subscription, help us with the likes, help us with the comments. We really appreciate it. And with that, catch you guys on the next one.